They can kiss you very unexpectedly.
I think there's a lot of people that would rather play the game, and I think that's the more exciting thing for them.
Another guy came and sat next to me almost immediately and started trying to hit on me.
Can you tell me your name, where you're from, and how long you've been living here in Argentina?
My name is Marius. I'm from Germany.
My name is Lena. I'm from Russia.
My name is Nicole. I'm from Austin, Texas.
My name is Dean.
Sam Johnson.
Sam Ballinger, Minnesota.
My name's Joe. I'm from London.
My name is Kirsten. I'm from Jamaica.
My name is Hanif from Florida.
I am Ryan Worth, originally from Tampa, Florida.
What's it like to date in Argentina?
Okay.
Oh, it is so different.
Women here are more approachable. Even my friends have said like they'll go out to clubs and like they'll approach girls and talk to them and they'll just kind of listen and like interact like a normal conversation. Whereas in the United States, that's probably less likely to happen.
They're quite direct in certain sense. They'll definitely let you know if they're interested or not. And that's something I highly appreciate because in other countries, maybe it's not so obvious. You could get the worst rejection of your life. I might have gotten the worst rejection of my life in this country and it's okay. But on the other hand, if a girl likes you, if she's into you, she'll definitely show you, or she will even come up to you and talk to you. Like some girls approached me, and for me that was like a big shock. Like it never happened to me in Germany.
In the places where I suppose the hunt is on, in clubs and that, it's a little bit harder, but I think it's because the women in those places are usually approached a lot more. It's a lot more of a common event for like a bunch of guys to go out, a bunch of girls to go out, and they're going out for that reason. Whereas I think in Europe, there's a bit more groups of friends who go out, and then if it happens, it happens. Out in the street and in the wild, for lack of a better phrase. Obviously being a tourist and being, somewhat exotic, I think it's a lot easier.
Have people approached you here?
Yeah, just 5 minutes ago I was eating by myself at a cafe and the waiter, he gave me a little potted plant as a flirtation, which is very generous. I don't know if that's an Argentinian thing, but I love it.
Okay, if I should be honest, in all my 10 years, I've not really been approached. They're very careful when it comes on to approaching women because, feminism is very big here. Women have a lot of rights, so they are very careful. They don't want to get in trouble, trying to approach a girl. Most men will approach women if they're probably in a club, they're probably drinking. Like that's the setting for meeting people. But if you're on the road, then it's not really likely that, someone will just approach you. As opposed to Jamaica, the men are very bold.
In New York City, I think there's a lot of people that are approaching people in online dating, right? And I think that is kind of the cultural norm. Here, I think the approach is very much in person. And I think there's a big portion that is social proof that you need. I think people feel most comfortable when you have somebody in common, somebody in common.
What do you bring to the table? What do I bring to the table? It's like a game of cards, like showing what you're about, showing your interest. Yeah, in my opinion, super chill.
Have you been dating while you've been here in Buenos Aires?
Yeah, I was dating here, some guys. It was interesting and absolutely different experience that I had before. Yeah, if you go for a first date with Argentinians, don't be shocked that they can kiss you very unexpectedly or touch you. So they don't know the borders. But I didn't go with Argentinians after first date.
Why didn't you go on another date?
Yeah, because the approach is not for me, that's why.
I was on this date and the entire night, like I was, trying to be a gentleman. It was my first date in Buenos Aires in Argentina. And, I just did the gentleman thing, like walked her home. And then she just seemed a little like, what, you're not going to like kiss me? You're not going to take me back to your place and have some drinks? And I was like, oh, really? Like, wow, I didn't know. So it just kind of caught me off guard. It's more intimate at such a fast pace. I feel like if you don't get a kiss on the first date, like you dropped the bag.
Can you tell me about like an experience you had with an Argentina that really, I don't want to say rattled you, but you were like, wow, it's different out here?
I have had one night where I was talking to a guy and he was nice, but I was like wanted to read my book and I told him and I went and sat down to read, and then another guy came and sat next to me almost immediately and started trying to hit on me. And I had just kind of rejected the other guy, and then that guy started like mad dogging us and like crossing his arms and staring. It was just really scary, honestly, and he came and started saying something to the other guy and I just snuck away while I don't know what they were saying.
Last night, I went on a date with the most beautiful Argentinian woman I've ever seen in my entire life. But the only problem was that she didn't speak English. I reached out to her on Instagram. She saw my Instagram. We messaged each other. Little did I know she was using translator to translate into English. So when we actually met, I had to use my translator the entire time.
You know, I don't know that there's like a specific example that I'm like, okay, it's different out here. I think a lot of times for people in the United States, guys are like, we're hunters, we're on the prowl. Like we're bringing the energy to them. Whereas I think it's actually a little bit more of the reverse. Argentinian girls are a little bit more, they want to chase a little bit more. And I think if you bring the energy of like, hey, let's go get coffee, let's do this, let's do a number of things, they're very disinterested and they kind of start to pull back a little bit more.
Like they want hard to get.
That's exactly what it is. I think there's a lot of people that would rather play the game, and I think that's the more exciting thing for them than to actually go out and be in a relationship or try to date for a relationship.
I find it hard to have like a deep conversation with most of them. It tends to be a little bit superficial, and it's always, oh, do you like mate, or did you come with your family? You know, I want something a little bit deeper, and it's hard to find that sometimes.
You get an Argentina to go on a date with you. What's that like?
I mean, I think, again, everyone's different. I've dated Argentine women who have offered to pay on the first date. I've had ones who are like, you know, the check has come down. They're like, oh, I can't see it at all. It does depend, but in a generality, I'd say it's probably a little bit more traditional in the relationships, or at least in the roles within a relationship.
First of all, Argentine women are some of the most beautiful women on the face of the planet. They can also be some of the most frustrating from time to time. I think there's a big portion that's the chase that we in the United States don't understand, right? I mean, I think it's very simple to ask a person like, hey, do you want to go grab a coffee and let's go out and let's just meet, just talk for like 5 minutes. We'll figure it out. Here, it doesn't work that way. They would rather like really get to know you first before they invest their time to sit down and like have a proper conversation.
I think you become boyfriend, girlfriend in the UK kind of 2 months, 3 months in down the line, and that's a very common place. If you've been dating for 4 months, 5 months, and you're not boyfriend and girlfriend, it's like, what are you doing? Whereas here, I was in situations where it's like, I'd be like, you're my girlfriend. And they're like, no, we're not yet. We're not there yet, because maybe it's seen as like, once you enter that stage of this is my boyfriend, it's on the path to husband, on the path to something more serious.
What are chongos and chongas?
Chongos and chongas it's more like a hookup culture.
Were you ever in a situation where you realized, oh, like you were someone's chongo?
Yeah, I did.
Like what was that conversation like afterwards with this girl?
There's no conversation. That's the problem. Like that's part of the problem. There's no communication. There's a lack of communication that happens sometimes.
Are you still the chongo then?
On this particular one, no.
What's the difference between dating someone here and in Florida?
I can say I had the best dates of my life in this country because of the vibe. If you go on a date in Germany, in my opinion at least, it's way more tense. It feels a little bit official, but here I had the impression that you just go on a date and you just try to have fun. Like you just try to have a good time, and you don't know what the outcome will be, but it doesn't matter in that moment. I had this feeling that everything flows naturally.
Like in general, in the United States, there's more emphasis placed on like what you do, how much money you make, what you can provide like economically. Here, I haven't really felt that. They always offer to pay at least half, which in the US doesn't really happen. It's kind of an expectation that the guy is going to pay.
Here as well, I know that some guys, when they invite girls out, they'll want to do like 50-50 on a meal. In Jamaica, that's not the case. Like if a guy invites you out, he's paying.
I've had some friends that like are foreigners from the United States as well, and they're trying to date here. And they've said that like, yeah, the girls don't really care about like their money because they've tried to like flaunt it and it's like it doesn't work. So I like that. It's less materialistic and it's more about making a connection. But I've heard from a lot of my friends that they have a lot of issues like with people canceling the last minute, just general flakiness. Thankfully, I haven't really run into a lot of that.
I can say versus Americans, much less ambitious in that way, that it's not like all they want to talk about on the date is like their career goals or money. I can say they're different from other Latin American cultures in that they don't seem to like machismo or anything like that.
Argentines, they have a more liberal view of dating. I find that they'll be with someone like for a very long time, you know, just having fun or doing fun stuff, but not really seal the deal to say, okay, this person is my partner. As opposed to Jamaica, you have to be a little bit more serious. Like, I'm not going to be going out with you doing fun stuff, doing all the things that partners do and not have a title to it.
Punctuality.
Okay.
Time. I went out with a girl. The first time I went out with her, she showed up an hour late. An hour. When she arrived, she kind of acted like, yeah, this is in pattern. For us or me coming from New York City, definitely not. Definitely not. I had to jokingly kind of pull it out and just say, I am not going to sit here for another hour ever again.
And how'd that go?
You know what? It actually went surprisingly well.
Planning things in advance. I was meeting a lot of people that they had like an aversion to planning like something for the next week.
Que fluye.
Yeah. Oh man, how many times I've heard that. That was difficult to get around that.
How's it gone for you in dating? Have you had any luck?
Definitely the biggest luck of my life. My current girlfriend, we've been together for almost 4 years. So yeah, we're happily together ever since then.
And she's here right now.
Hi, I'm the girlfriend. Actually, we met 4 years ago here in Buenos Aires. Basically, thanks to Tinder. I think you know the app.
So how is dating Delphi different than dating women back home in Germany?
An instant connection that I never felt before with any girl that I dated.
And when you guys first started dating, were there any, miscommunication?
I think maybe one of the biggest cultural differences was the honesty that the Germans have. And that could be both a great and a bad thing sometimes, just because it's different and you feel it as, whoa, that's shocking. Sometimes I think we're lacking of that honesty here in Argentina. Sometimes we're just all about sweet and nice words. I think that a little bit of honesty is also good.
One thing we've noticed with just walking around, meeting people at coffee shops, is how present everyone is. People prioritize you in person rather than whatever else is going on their phone, their plans later, and that's something we found to be refreshing here is, in the United States, it's a very digital culture, meaning people prioritize who they're texting over the person that's in person with them. So definitely something that we're going to try and take back when we go back to the States.